Hello, everybody. This is the final video for the history course. It's week 4, and I want to focus today on the final assignment, assignment 4. A bit of housekeeping first. If you recall, the mark for participation, I'm liking to call it more engagement with learning. That is worth 20% of your total mark, the same as the other 4 assignments. And for that mark, one of the things I'm looking for is your quick response in the comments under each video. I've been getting very few of those. So in each video, I've asked a question right near the end, and it's a very short answer. So you still have an opportunity to go back and do those. I did slip up in video for week 3. I forgot to ask the question. So there's a question for the first week, and that video was split up. My stream got interrupted, so there's 2 parts to it. So there's one question for week 1, one for week 2, and there'll be one at the end of today, presuming I can follow my notes and record it. So that's just to remind you that that's quite a bit of your mark, and also be looking in there for perhaps other communications. Have you been in touch with me as the instructor? So I might be looking at the chats that we've done individually, or who participated in the live chit-chat sessions on Facebook. All of that adds up to give me a picture of how engaged you are in the learning. For those who are just starting the history course that have had to work on other assignments, and I encouraged you to do that if you wish, you can still fully participate in that as you watch the videos, and you just record your answer in the comment section under the video when you view it. Okay, so let's look at assignment 4. I didn't really do a rubric for this one because it's in terms of a response. It's a very individual kind of thing that you're going to write. But I want to try and shape what I was thinking in that. First of all, the assignment is to create your message, your letter for the next 7 generations, for the future. And you can think of it just in terms of even your own grandchildren. That's a starting place to get your head around it, okay? And what I'm hoping you get a sense of is a little bit different understanding of what history is, what historic events are. And I think of this in terms of an Indigenous view of time. And the Indigenous view doesn't separate completely the past, present, and future. It's more inclusive. It's more like a circle of relationships as I've come to understand it. So that means that the past, those ancestors who have gone before us, are still recognized as being part of our present. So just the other day, I was at a drum circle, the first that's been held in this area since before COVID. And one of the people there, I had brought along a drum. And I wonder if I can pause this video to show you the drum. I don't see a pause button, so I'll just tell you. The drum, my husband asked me to bring it along to the circle because it was, it belonged to a friend of ours who 7 years ago now, I arrived at Lac Seul for our classes, and the first morning I was there, I got these strange messages on my cell phone, and a friend of ours had been murdered, an elder. He had lived in our apartment for a few years with his partner, and we knew him quite well. So this drum belonged to him. And he had given it to another friend of ours who passed away around Christmas time this year. So I brought the drum and I asked the person leading the drum group if there was anything special I should do. And he suggested I just offer tobacco to the fire and then I could talk about the drum a bit. So I did that. Well, one of the people at the circle also had known this man who was murdered 7 years ago. And she came over to me and she said how he had been in touch with her through a third person. They had had the dream, and the dream was that there was a Anishinaabe woman water carrier who's been very active in protecting the waters, and she was going to be out on the East Coast at some event. And the message was that my friend, Beth, should go there. She needed to be there because there was no one else to support this woman. Now, I heard that message. To her, it was a direction. It was a clear communication from this man who had died 7 years ago. He was still involved. She took that as, a real communication. So this idea that the past generations are with us is very well accepted in Indigenous thought. The past is not a closed door. So that's what this assignment tries to bring to your attention, that not only is the past with us, but the future generations are with us, in the sense that we need to be aware of what we're handing over to them, and that it needs to be the best of what we have, the best of what we have learned, in order to help them lead a good life. I think that word is bimapsuin, to live in a good way. What have we learned? So this assignment tries to focus on that idea of our lives as being in this web of relationships that includes the past and it includes the future. The reading of the prophecy of Chief Crazy Horse, I think, also highlights this idea that we are connected through generations. I just want to read a couple little things from it. And this connects to a question in your assignment. I threw out some kind of triggers for your thinking. So one of them was what lessons has the world learned? And the other one, what contributions can Indigenous knowledge and understanding make to solving global problems? So Chief Crazy Horse says, in that day, there will be those among the Lakota who will carry knowledge and understanding of unity among all living things. And the young white ones will come to those of my people and ask for this wisdom. So that idea of how we remember and honor the knowledge of past generations. And we do that through traditional practices. You know, we might be saying, my great grandmother did it this way. Or it might come through actual ceremonies where somebody out loud verbally remembers the ancestors. So here, Chief Crazy Horse is saying that that those who carry on this knowledge and understanding from the past, that people will come to seek out that knowledge and understanding. You know, it's a real thing. It's something of great value, and it was hard won through often many difficulties. But it is worthy of the attention of the world, of other societies. We have something to offer that is of great value. And this other little quote going on from there, he says, I salute the light within your eyes, where the whole universe dwells. For when you are at that center within you, and I am that place within me, we shall be as one. When the center of us is the same as the center of Chief Crazy Horse, when we are in the light, we are as one. So that's again the 7 generations, the past, actually influencing what we are doing in our lives as we walk this earth. And he says, this is a comment that I guess the editor is making about the prophecy of Chief Crazy Horse. And he says, he saw that the eyes of a few of his people kept the light of dawn and the wisdom of the earth, which they passed on to some of their grandchildren. Let me read that again. We're thinking now of the future, right? Connecting it to the past. He saw that the eyes of a few of his people kept the light of dawn and the wisdom of the earth, which they passed on to some of their grandchildren. So in your assignment, this is what you're doing. You're trying to take your experience and interpret it. You know, you're using critical thinking. You're trying to pick out the things that are of the greatest value. What would you want to pass on? If I had to create a rubric for this assignment, really what I'm looking for is your personal, your deep understanding of history as including the past and present. And I'll see that by references that you might make, you know, to ancestors, to parents, grandparents, references that you might make to your children or their children. I'm looking for deep understanding of how struggle can make us stronger and wiser. So we're in the middle of a struggle right now with COVID-19. It's huge. What learning will we take out of that? What's the sense, you know, of going through a great struggle and coming out of it with no more understanding and being just as vulnerable the next time around? We want to kind of identify what we are learning, how we can make the next steps more productive. I'm looking for a deep understanding of the possible Indigenous contributions to global progress. What is there in the the deeper understanding that you as an individual or your family or your community or the nation, when the nation speaks, what is there that can benefit other peoples? I like the phrase in that quote of the Indigenous knowledge of the earth. We have this tradition of thousands of years of getting to know our environment, getting to know the cycle of life, the animals, how they come and go, the cycle of plants, what ones heal, what ones are for different purposes, for food, or how do we preserve the habitat for deer. The idea of burning an area on purpose and having blueberries then come up in the next several years. Like, Indigenous people did a lot to manage the resources. So the rubric would be deep understanding. I can write that out for you. I had trouble getting my head around how I would try to grade these, but really that's what it is. It's you mulling over this crisis that we've had and trying to pull out what are the positive things. And the reason we do that is not just for ourselves, but we're doing it with our view to the next 7 generations. How can we help them to deal with things, quite similar things that can be anticipated now? We're told that by scientists, people like Bill Gates, who have been involved in research about pandemics for a number of years, we're told this is the first. So whatever we learn is going to be very valuable. So I was thinking a letter of 1 or 2 pages. It can be longer if you want. And I'm really looking forward to getting these because it's kind of the, to me, sort of the high point. You had an assignment at the beginning to, these are all connected, eh? The first one was to talk with an elder. So we're trying to bring in some of that perspective of the past 7 generations. And then the timeline of your community is the closer, the past and right up to the today. Trying to connect those and see, what these steps are in the progress of the community. And then you had the reflection on COVID as a historical event, and that's where you you're introduced to ways of thinking about history, like the significance of an event. What's the evidence? What examples can you give to make that clear? What patterns do you see? What changes? Different perspectives that people might use, the health worker or the elder or the children, that sort of thing, and making a judgment. So that's centered on historical research, and you could use those ways of thinking in any type of historical research. And the last assignment is looking towards the future. What do we take from this and choose to carry and choose to pass on that will benefit future generations. So that's about it. I am looking forward to receiving those assignments, and send them please by email to my Brock email that's in your course outline. And you can certainly message me any questions about this. Thank you.